Eric Fishman, we got you back on the Coby's Brain podcast. How you doing today, my friend?
Doing pretty well. I mean, no place I'd rather be than a hotel room with my boy behind the scenes, and then his girlfriend playing with my beads. That's a little bar, platonically, because they're not platonic, so I've heard. I don't know. Making it awkward between a couple in a hotel room, so that's how we ride. So doing pretty decent, if I had to say so myself.
All right, well,
Quick ramble.
we're glad to have you here, Mr. Fishman. Tell us what else is new with you, my friend.
Just been doing some walking on the beach, close to the beach, hanging out. Yeah, just been living La Vida Loca, femininely speaking. Living La Vida casual, matriarchally speaking as well. Real big clit energy these days. And I say that respectfully, and hopefully he doesn't cut it out because it's anatomically correct.
Anatomically correct statement. We love to hear it. So, okay, so the topic that we wanted to go over today is, before this, we were walking around the boardwalk and having a good time. And Eric has an interesting philosophy when we're walking around, going to all these different stores and everything. He has a tendency to want to acquire objects wherever we go. So Eric, tell us a little bit about your philosophy of acquisition of miscellaneous knickknacks, ranging from beads to sage to meditation bowls to pipes to Israeli Uzi containers.
Yeah, Coby. Well, my parents are going to maybe listen to this. I don't buy that many pipes. I buy them appropriate amount for what I do. And what I do is I walk around, and I don't go to random spots. It's very specific. So I went and bought stuff from every place we went to because I took Coby to the old, I think it's a Native American shop. I got some driver moccasins because your feet get worn the more you walk. So you got to protect your feet. It's kind of like, how do I make it like not sexual but still sexual? It's kind of like a condom for your feet, but it's made by Native American heritage.
The moccasins.
Of course. I mean, always talking about moccasins. Water moccasins. That was a scary snake I just thought of. Yeah, sorry. Just kind of on a tangent because when I'm with, again, after spent a long day and a good day walking around and then bought some stuff solo and bought some stuff with my friends. Yeah, I guess the question is, why do I do it? I don't know, Coby. Is that the question? I just kind of took over your podcast by accident again because I'm
Eric,
a shitty guy.
We love to get your thoughts on this. Yeah. It's just a question of like, what is the rationale for your acquisition of miscellaneous knickknacks?
Yeah, I would say the strategy is about buying stuff that you think looks cool and just brings you a little bit of joy. So when you get a little bit older, I mean, I guess bringing this to a really apolitical topic like religion, as a Jew, it's a little different than Christmas, where on Christmas you kind of have that Santa theory going around of St. Nicholas, and Krampus apparently doesn't exist in like America because Krampus is a Germanic tale of not chill things, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, no, it's like the concept of someone else giving you something and like the parents get a kick out of it. But in Hanukkah, you just know it's your parents because if they're paying for it, they want you to know this is coming from us. So yeah, on 8 days, it's more of a consecutive. You get a few good gifts, and on the 8th night, you get something really good. But I guess the concept or the theory behind that, or just the idea, is just floating around in the ethers of my mind. It's kind of a thing of buying yourself something that looks cool, because I say it a lot with like jewelry where, I don't know, I like a lot of Native American jewelry just because the color of turquoise is really just calming and soothing and cool to me. So yeah, with 925 silver and turquoise, I guess would be a good example. Those things were made by someone else, and I couldn't tell you when some of those items I've purchased previously were dated. But technically I do buy them, so like I have some sort of property ownership over it for the time I own it for. But I buy way too many rings and way too many beads, as you can see from the exhibit Coby's girlfriend, that I can't really use all the beads, but I still think they look cool. And it's kind of adding that shared element of, if I like it.
The bracelet I made.
Yeah, no, she made a sick bracelet. You want to show her or show them the necklace?
Oh, yeah, here's my moon.
Little moon swag.
Oh, wait.
So with regard, like
Shut up.
the moon.
No, so that's the concept, is that I enjoy buying it because like money's cool, but when you reach a certain level of wealth, you really don't. I mean, every purchasing dollar doesn't really have that same oomph, just margin or diminishing returns of enjoyment, I guess you can call it. But yeah, I think it's literally, I like to buy smaller items that I think look cool because you can buy way more of them. And just hopping on the same jewelry wavelength. Like, I like Tissot watches because they're a great starter watch to certain things. Like, to get into automatic watches and just beautiful Swiss engineering for an affordable price that also looks cool. Because they take, I mean, the PRX, for example, and not Coby. I'm getting to the point, so I know you're getting antsy in a good way. But, yeah, it's with the PRXs in that jewelry example, it's literally taking inspiration from, I think, a watch that came out in the 80s. So it's the vibe of that aesthetic matched with the price point, which is sub $1,000. I mean, the PRX is just a quartz movement, and the PRX Automatic 80 is like the nicer one that you can just have like the math going on in the watch face or bezel or whatever you watch snobs want to call it. But yeah, I would say it's cool to own for a little bit, but I buy more than I need because you can buy 1,000 Tissots for the price of one really expensive Audemars or Patek Philippe or insert any fucking one you want there that costs more than $1,000. So I get enjoyment out of buying small, seemingly miscellaneous things because they're seemingly miscellaneous to other people, but to me, I think they just look really cool. And I know that I'll get a second form of enjoyment when I give it out to somebody else.
Thank
and
you.
then, oh, you're welcome. I gotcha. And then the other thing is with clothes, I love just literally not even trying shit on because if I think the logo looks cool, it's just on site. So I literally this summer, shout out Bird Rock Surf, had some great times there because I was just a menace and just made a stockpile and just didn't look at the price tags because at surf shops, they're all like $35 or like you can do some mental math. And like I have some hilarious videos of me just like going over and me trying to, that was a sick game that I used to do is like throw a bunch of shit there because it looks cool and like I like every item, but like not every item's going to fit me. I buy half for a good amount as gifts because like I want if I'm looking good, my friends will be looking good, and then everyone's feeling good, and then I won't have to beg them like I did earlier of Coby's girlfriend to maybe find me a girl that I can high five or something innocuous like that. I don't know. But the joke is that if my friends look good, they'll get girlfriends, and then that helps everybody because love is dope, and girlfriends are monogamously tight.
Okay.
So is that the answer? I'll finish it because I see the time we're at. The answer is there's 3 phases when I buy clothes. It's literally if they look cool in the store, I'll just throw them on a pile, and that's one phase of enjoyment, which is personal aesthetic. The second phase is literally you take them back to your house and you kind of forget what you bought, so you get a second pass through the stuff that you already thought they looked cool. And the second time is you get the Christmas type of enjoyment where like you paid for them, you already know that you have ownership over it. But now it's like Christmas of like, all right, what the fuck did I buy? Do they actually fit me? So you do a little fashion show with yourself or your family. Mostly I do it with myself because like, I don't know, I'm getting naked in between and like I'm a little girl when it comes to showing my weenie. I'm just staring at his girlfriend right now. Sorry, that was not sexual. She's making jewelry. It's platonic. But the answer to the question is the third time is either if I don't like it, I can give it as a gift, which is pretty dope because, yeah, I bought it because it looked cool. So if I'm not trying to convert my friends to my style, but if I think it's cool and I give them my grandpa said at one time, it's an offer, not a request. So I offer them the option and it's more of a decentralized closet. So if I'm at their place and I'm like too fucked up to bring a change of clothes, you know what can happen? I say, hey, can I borrow that shirt back for the night? And they could say no, but they usually wouldn't because it'd be rude.
Okay. I see. There are definitely, obviously, some cool advantages to buying these miscellaneous goods. I would say I have 3 potential counter arguments.
Let's hear. Honestly, I love that.
So, counter argument number 1, and I want to hear your response to each one of these.
Okay, cool. I went so off script.
No, that's
I wrote
okay.
down ideas and I didn't go over any of them. My bad.
It's okay. Okay, so counter argument number 1. You seem to be on this kind of spiritual journey where you are
I have notes if you want some.
Oh, no, it's okay. Where a spiritual journey and...
Coby doesn't cheat. That's why he's a respectful podcaster. And I'm just a nice boy.
Okay.
I was going to say pussy. Sorry. You had 3 counter arguments. I'm cutting you off again. Miss Goozy.
No, it's okay. So, counter argument number 1, you seem to be on this spiritual journey, and most spiritual traditions and ways of going about that seem to advocate for materialistic detachment rather than the acquisition of material goods, yet seems to be something that you value. That's counter argument number 1. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Number 2 would be, these cost money. Is this the best way that you could be spending your money if these items are like, so arbitrary? And then
I like that.
Item number 3 would be, when you acquire items, you have to store them, and storing items is like inconvenient. So what do you think about these, and like how in light of these 3 kind of ideas does this acquisition of these material objects still seem to align with what you're up to out here, Mr. Fishman?
Yeah, no, Dr. Paul, I appreciate that. See, I got him because he only has a master's, like a loser, like a guy who couldn't get into anywhere else but Stanford undergrad and USC film school. What a loser! Look at that! Look at that harsh burn. Kobe's blushing under that big braid of his. VR filters are dope. What was I gonna say? Yeah, the arguments.
Yeah, spiritual argument is number 1.
Second is arbitrary argument, and the third one is storage argument.
Arbitrary and like.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just going buzzwords.
Yeah.
Just what I wrote down, just to remember like what the questions were. Yeah, from the spirituality standpoint, it's kind of the idealism around why you're buying something. So it's going back to the why. So it's like a lot of stuff with the detachment doesn't mean that you have to give away all your goods. Like, I don't need any of this stuff. Like, if this hotel room got raided by Kobe's beautiful girlfriend and she's like, oh, look, I'm in the bling ring from that movie and the real like crime story, I'm gonna be stealing shit. She wouldn't, because she's super nice. But in theory. Oh, no, as a joke. She's looking at me with, like, eyes like I just hurt her soul. Kind of hurts.
Wait, all right, continue.
No, see, but that's what I'm talking about. When you offend somebody in a pleasant manner, you can kind of tell that, like, people don't steal stuff because they want to resell it. They do it exactly for that reason. So if you're so willing, it's the idea of buying stuff to want it to have forever, and you have in perpetuity ownership over it, because I'm going to die at one point, maybe. I think we all will. And when I say maybe after death, that sounds kind of like full of himself, so I'm misgoose. But the whole thing with buying this stuff is that I don't own this shit in perpetuity. Like, I'm going to light incense candles on this and burn the incense. And like the law and transfer of energy stuff is, if I buy it as gifts and someone steals it, it's like, all right, I can just rebuy it. Like, that's why if someone if I had like $1 million watch, like I say, yeah, like pretend like I had $1 million watch and someone stole it from me, I'd feel not well. I have a few watches worth some good money and then a bunch of watches sub $1,000. And if someone stole a sub $1,000 watch, I would not be thrilled, because some have way more sentiment than others. Like, it's more the argument over what's sentimentally valuable to you versus what is just value. It's, what is it? Price induced quality of demand is like a very interesting behavioral economics term. So it's, the price doesn't induce my demand quality. Me personally, it's more of, I like just arbitrary quality that I deem just on my personal preference curves and my just how I take stock in certain values. So if someone steals it, if I made it, I'd be more mad. If it's in family heirloom, I'd be not thrilled in the slightest. But if I just bought a Knack, and I say that respectfully and endearingly because these are super cool tchotchkes and like artifacts of other people's cultures that they're selling on the sidewalk of Venice Beach, I can just rebuy it, because everything I bought was under not that much money. Like, if someone steals the incense holder, it's like, dope, $18. Like, that's not no money, but in the scheme of people who spend a lot more money on a lot more things, I don't care. If Coby, your girlfriend, tells me, oh, I really, really need that in my life, I'd be dope. I bought it for me, but you could have it. Like, But I
Okay.
don't think she will. It's that
On-
concept.
Thank you.
On the topic of right, like these
So
are
that's
cheap.
like the concept.
Right. Yeah. So, but like, these are cheap items, sure, but like,
They're cheap because that's what the price was. Like I could like everyone has the capacity, and that comes back to the second. Like the second point is the arbitrariness. Like
the arbitrariness and the fact that these small purchases add up and could be instead used to buy something like larger and more.
Yeah, Coby, that's assuming that but that's also finite. Like theoretically, if I have infinite money, if I just shell out a shit coin, or let's pretend like I started a company that is like an exchange and I just hung out in the Bahamas and just, I don't know, fucked over my customers for billions of dollars. Like I'm just using a random example that's not in the news. Jokes. But the concept is that if I'm spending big money on big stuff, which I do, like those are my big boy purchases, like I don't have, like I buy that shit, like the whole thing with digital currency as a concept is that when I want to spend big boy digital currency bucks, it's like dope. I got literally Ledger X's out the ass and a bunch of other cold store. Like I keep my real money on cold and my fake money on hot. Shout out fiat currency. So like, it's literally they're arbitrary to me and they're seemingly small because I don't flex in front of like people. Like I got cool little stuff, but like if I wanted to buy a really big house and some really nice cars, it's like on site, but like I don't do that in front of people because it's rude to talk. It's not rude to talk about money. It's just socially awkward if you just throw around money like it is the end all be all. When like the beads that I bought, I think that purchase was like an $800 rip from like a bead, shout out Bead World in Scottsdale. Such a sick wholesale store that you can get so much shit from. And literally you can buy an $800 ring and give it to someone and like they'll feel really awesome. Or you can just buy a shit ton of beads and like, was it not more fun to make it?
That was so fun.
Like that was a good time. And like me and Coby were just chilling and I'm just showing you how sausage gets made. This is how it gets made. Like this, I don't have a Uzi gun, but I got the pouch that a literal IDF soldier probably used. So it's like dope. Let me throw some shit in here. Like literally, if I want to store my beads in here, it's like that's my God-given right to like use my random miscellaneous containers how I want. But like this is like a dream box catching thingy. Like I can just use that to put cannabis in. Or literally, I learn shit all the time. Like I don't even know what's in here. You know what's in here? This is what I'm talking about. It's like a little present. It's like one of those Russian tchotchke dolls. Like now it's the legend of the dream box. Like now I get to read a little personal legend of all of the history behind this and the spiritual theory because it just was in here. Like I'll be honest, I was in the store earlier today, so I already read this. But if I didn't, like now you can have it.
What is it?
Okay,
A
so
little story.
we are almost out of time, so we should touch on the final
Oh, the storage.
storage and transportation of these objects.
I would say so fucking cheap. It doesn't concern me in the slightest. Like, what do you mean the storage of these objects, Coby? You're acting like all this shit is like a freight truck or the Amazon shit that I bought for children in Africa. That ain't it, kid. This is my tchotchke box.
So what's your dream?
What's my dream?
Yeah.
Well, literally, I mean, there's nothing in the box yet. So literally you have to put your dreams in the box and then you have to think about them. Literally, you put your dreams in that. I don't know if this, I read it earlier, so I might be paraphrasing. But, like, the idea behind this little thing, which is, I don't actually know, that's for a different pod. You're getting me, that's why girls are so trickery, is that they get really nice to you, and then they get you distracted with cool stuff when I'm trying to hang out with my boy Coby. And you're ruining it.
Okay, Eric, thank you so much for...
So storage is cheap. Shout out, literally, with Coby. In a general concept... From a land and a digital perspective, it's super easy to store stuff nowadays. People store stuff in anything. Literally, it's just nested theory of just try and find my shit. It's like if you're trying to build a maze. If you store your important shit in maze never gonna fucking say, then you can give anybody a billion mazes, aka the banking system, and like, or anything digital. Like I'm not trying to sound like ooh spooky scary, but like. There's a reason why certain countries are much better at hacking. It's because they train their people young with really smart technology, and they hope they make the good decision, good choices with it. So it's kind of that theory of it's really cheap to store stuff because people steal physical stuff and do B&E all the time. And also people do crypto B&E all the time. It's called cyber espionage, and there's a lot of good books I can recommend. educationally speaking, of course, for reference only. But yeah, I mean, storage doesn't concern me because my friend here works for the agency RE. Shout out her, product plug. As in, hope she gets a raise because I heard she doesn't run the place, which is offensive to hear, truthfully. But yeah, the same thing with that. If like I can buy a house or I can rent an apartment and just you literally use that as a storage locker, or I can sleep in it also. Like it's really easy to store this stuff, and if I really need to, I can just literally rent warehouse space and just put all my larger item shit in there.
Okay. All right. Eric's.
Does that answer the question?
That answers the question. So thank you so much, Eric, for diving into the topic of the acquisition of small tchotchkes.
Yeah, it's micro gifts. You know, you can macro dose your gifts or micro dose your gifts. I like to spend not that much money on my stuff because you can give way more small stuff that impact more individual people with smaller gifts versus giving one girl one big gift or one boy one big gift. What if you just have a bunch of little ones?
All right. It's definitely some food for thought. Food for thought for sure. Well, thank you for joining the podcast, Eric.
Well, do you want to tell them, food for thought? Do you want to tell them what we had for dinner tonight? No, to get culturally relevant. We had some Peruvian food. It was so sick.
Right. That is the truth. All right. Well, thanks again, Eric. We'll talk to you again soon on Coby's Brain. Thank you for watching.